From Hollywood. Welcome to the Rat's Ass Podcast with Mojo Elliott.
And here we go with another fun-filled Monday. So prepare yourselves for another action-packed adventure. You know, I've been told that listening to the Rat's Ass Podcast is like being covered in whipped cream and then shaved with a dull razor. Here's what's on tap on the Wrap. I have a message of love for another podcaster. Our new feature called What's Your Point is coming up. Is Facebook and Instagram still favoring Democrats? And forget about women's jeans, what about male jeans? Who has the most vandalized star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame? It might not be who you think it is. And another round of head trauma is on the way. Let's see how good you are with the mystery voice. Plus our usual lunacy and loose behavior, including Saw It on the X. And that's what's coming up today on the Rat's Ass Podcast for Monday, August 11th. Thanks for kicking off your week with us. You might hear the fan again in the background because it's another hot, sticky day in Hollywood. I do have a show note to pass along. We're going to have some new hours here. It really doesn't affect you because you can listen anytime on demand. We're still going to record on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday and post, but we're not going to record until middays. I decided to flip my gym schedule with my podcast schedule. Because going to the gym after the podcast, I always got to put up with those people that sit on the machines, and you know who you are. You do a rep, then you got to sit and flip through your phone for 15 minutes before you do the next one. You're the ones that have been going to the gym for 7 years and still haven't lost a pound because you're more enthused with flipping through your phone than doing the workout. Yeah, it's your world, and we're just living in it, right? So I decided to flip it around because I like to get my ass out of bed and start early. So I went to the gym this morning. I did a workout in 30 minutes. I'm like, oh, hell, that's better than 90. So that's how much time you wasted of my time. And I know what you're thinking. Well, isn't your time the same as my time? We're in the same place at the same time? No. Get off the damn phone. Leave it in your locker or leave it in your car. Please. There are other people who are serious about this. Like me. All right, this week's Rat's Ass Podcast Top 10 Rock List is here. You can check it out on the blog and watch the videos on Rat's Ass Rock TV. You can connect on the hub, ratsasspodcast.com. All right, let's get into the Wrap. Are you familiar with podcaster Jennifer Welch? She has a podcast called I've Had It. Nah, I didn't think so. Anyway, she apparently has a decent-sized audience, but she's all over the national news for echoing a point I've been hearing from liberals going back to Cinco de Mayo that basically says, if you're a Trump supporter, you cannot go to a Mexican or an Asian restaurant or something that's considered to be a minority restaurant. You have to stay the hell out. And she says to take our fat asses over to Cracker Barrel and stay there. Really? Cracker Barrel, huh? I've never been to one. Are they good? But I have a little message of love for Jennifer I'd like to pass along to her. First of all, do you know that there are independents, libertarians like me, and centrist Democrats who voted for Trump and support Trump? Jennifer, are you aware just because a restaurant might have Mexican or Asian cuisine, it could be owned by a white person or even a Mexican or an Asian Trump supporter? I know of a white guy in my neighborhood who has a chain of Del Tacos, and he's a Republican. You know, sometimes white people open a restaurant that serves Mexican or Asian cuisine simply because there's a hole in the market for one. They see an opportunity to make a little moolah, a little money. You ever consider that? So before making a dumbass statement like Trump supporters should take their fat ass to Cracker Barrel, maybe you should lay off the face fillers and pumping your lips up so they look like hemorrhoids on your face because they're rotting your brain. I love you. Mean it. All right, what's your point? This is a new feature we're doing here on the Rat's Ass Podcast that shares other people's point of view that I can find on social media. Now, I don't care if it leans left, right, or down the middle. I don't give a good damn. If it's a good point, I'm going to share it. Like this one I got from TikTok follower Steve Mateo.
Apparently, you liberals would prefer that women get attacked just so you can talk shit about Republicans.
It's kind of funny that Big Balls got beat up by a bunch of kids.
He was defending a woman that was being assaulted. Like, literally, there was a group of dudes attacking a woman, and were about to do God knows what to her. So Big Balls stepped in. And sure, he got his ass kicked. Like, I can't show you too much of it, but he's in bad shape. But that was because this man decided to take on 10 men. He fought 10 men to keep them from assaulting that woman. And you're making fun of him for that. You're making fun of the guy who put his life at risk to protect a woman, who took on a fight against 10 men to protect a woman. And you think it's funny. Like, liberals, how many times are you going to take the opportunity to show us how awful of people you are?
Is it a good point? I think it's a damn good point. Now, if you disagree, email us at ratsasspodcast@gmail.com. Or you can send it to our chat box on the homepage at ratsasspodcast.com. All right, email address again, ratsasspodcast@gmail.com. Do you agree or disagree? All right, is Facebook and Instagram still favoring Democrats? Now, I post on the Rats Ass Podcast Facebook and Instagram page, and I rarely, almost never read the news feed because I prefer X. You guys know how much I love the X. I'm an X man. But it was a slow news day today, so I decided to take a look and see what was up on my Facebook feed. I don't follow anything. Nothing. No news, no sports, or entertainment content providers. Zero, zip, nada. Pure as the driven snow. And everything on my news feed featured Democrats. Started with Tim Walz. Do you think I would follow Tim Walz? No, he's just showing up. But there were politicians, Democratic influencers, and left-leaning talk show hosts. I follow none of them. Now, you might remember Mark Zuckerberg went to Washington and met with Donald Trump and told him he was no longer going to help push Democratic propaganda. I'm calling bullshit on Zuckerberg on this one. Facebook, Instagram, Blue Sky, Threads, and Substack are all in the pockets of the Democrats. All you have to do is go read their feeds to figure this one out. So I don't know why you're all worried about losing NPR and PBS and Stephen Colbert. I mean, they're just getting replaced by something else. It's not right-leaning. They're just gone away. So I don't know why you're having a problem with that. But yeah, Facebook, Instagram, they're still in the pockets. I have no doubt about it. Now, as you know, there's been a lot of bravado about women's jeans lately, mainly American Eagle and Sydney Sweeney, but today I want to discuss male jeans. Yeah, we've got issues with jeans. Did you know in Los Angeles, it is damn near impossible for me to go to a store where they sell jeans and find a waist size smaller than the length. Okay, I wear jeans with a 32 waist, 34 length. I can't find them anywhere. I have to actually order my damn jeans when I need them online. Whether it's Levi's, American Eagle, Lucky Brand, you name it. You name it. And then they don't fit, and I have to return them and play that game, which just delays me getting my new jeans. I'm 6'2", not 7 foot, so it shouldn't be this damn difficult. Not every man in L.A. is short and fat. I shouldn't have to grow a third ass cheek or a Pillsbury Doughboy belly suffering from fatty liver just to buy a pair of frickin' jeans, you know what I mean? Now, some men like to stay physically fit. I just happen to be one of those guys, and I feel like I'm being punished because I like to shop outside of the aisle and refuse to shovel endless amounts of crappy fast food down the hatch, so I'm appealing to Levi's, American Eagle, Lucky Brand, anybody who manufactures jeans, to please, for the love of Christ, stock a few jeans in stores that have smaller waists than lengths. For us guys who don't need or use Ozempic, please. I've got a closet full of jeans, worn out jeans, but for some odd reason, call me crazy, but I like that feel of new, never worn jeans before. You know, when you walk and your legs rub together and you go zit, 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 zit. You know, sometimes I get that. Not lately, though. It's a simple pleasure. You know, I really don't think it's a big ask. So if you don't mind, add this to the list too. How about a little more ballroom? All right, that would be appreciated too. Thank you for your attention to this matter. All right, who do you think has the most vandalized star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame? This one surprised me, but then again, it shouldn't have, knowing how sick and twisted liberals are. But here we go. Number 4, Marilyn Monroe. Why Marilyn Monroe? I guess people want a piece of the action still, something to remember her by. I mean, she would be 99 years old today, but her star, 4th most vandalized. Bob Marley, number 3. Bob would be 80 today. And why Bob Marley? Of all the stars on the Hollywood Walk of Fame, why Bob Marley? I don't get it. All he did was smoke dope and write some pretty damn good reggae music. Number 2, Bill Cosby. I thought he was number one, to be honest. But Bill would be 88. Well, he is 88. He's still alive, luckily. But Bill is number two. And number one, I think you figured it out by now, it's Donald Trump. 4 to 5 times a year it gets demolished. Now, do you know who has to pay to repair the stars that get damaged? It's the Hollywood Chamber of Commerce, and it costs upwards of $10,000 per star every time you vandalize them, regardless of the reason. So, hey, just do us a favor and knock it the hell off.
They used to call him Homer, and it wasn't a compliment. Here is Mojo Elliott with Rat Sports.
All right, the first week of the NFL preseason is in the books, and there were a lot of impressive performances by teams you wouldn't expect. The Jets, Giants, Patriots, and Browns were solid. Then there were the teams we expected to get out of the gate, like San Francisco, Washington, Buffalo, Houston, and Kansas City, who came out flat. Now, it's only the first week, and we'll see how things ramp up in week 2, but you know teams have to get there quick because they only get 3 preseason games these days. All right, in Major League Baseball, keep an eye on the divisional races between Houston and Seattle. The Mariners are now only a half a game out after winning 7 in a row, and 9 of their last 10. They've been hot since the All-Star break, and actually even hotter after they made the trades at the deadline. Also, the Padres have moved within 2 games of the Dodgers in the NL West. And the wild card hunt, Cincinnati, for as bad as they've played over the last couple of weeks, they are now within a game and a half of the New York Mets. That's how bad the Mets must be playing. That's for the final National League wild card spot. And Cleveland in the American League is within a half a game of the Yankees for the American League wild card spot. All right, let's swing on over to the Rat's Ass Podcast chat box on the homepage. Rick Spitz says he's from Shaker Heights, Ohio, and he said, "What did you think of Shedeur Sanders' first preseason game?" I thought it was great. Thought he did a great job. You know, the knock on him is that he held onto the ball too long, but he showed that he could get out of the pocket, could gain ground with his feet, and I think Cleveland might have the steal of the draft. Again, it's only one game. People and teams will adjust, but first game, I think he's got some potential. Matt Johnson, Boise, Idaho. Ashton Jetty's first game as a pro wasn't so hot. Do you think he's been overrated? You know, it looked that way to me. First game with the Raiders, 3 carries, -1 yard. And as I thought about it, you know, as I watched the game, I thought, oh, boy, maybe there's a problem here. But as I thought more about it, Matt, you know, he got 3 carries. That's it. Nothing more. I think they just wanted to get his feel of what it was like to get hit in the NFL out of the way. Just we'll see what he does week 2, week 3 in the preseason. But, you know, you want to protect the back like that, too. Maybe they're not using him because they're really planning on some surprise attacks, too. All right, so keep that in mind. That's sports today on The Wrap.
Rat's Ass Podcast. Head trauma.
All right, today we're playing the mystery voice. I want you to listen close and tell me who you think this famous person is.
My mom told me when I was really young to fall in love with as many things as possible.
All right, listen close one more time.
My mom told me when I was really young to fall in love with as many things as possible.
All right, take a while, think about it. I'll have the answer for you coming up on the podcast.
It's time for some loose behavior on the Rat's Ass Podcast.
All right, let's see what's happening on the Rat's Ass Podcast X feed, because you know I'm an X man. All right, we call it Saw It on the X. All right, Candy Cane, who I follow, posted this one. Where is the strangest place a man has ever taken you on a first date? Michelle Kilgore from Boston, Mass. said, he took me to meet his parents. Afterwards, I politely told him to lose my number. I don't blame you. Talk about rushing it. Linda Ramos, Alhambra, California, said, I told this guy to take me someplace wild, and he took me to the L.A. Zoo where a crazy-ass ape threw his dung at me. He's now my husband. The ape or your date? Amy Graham, Nashville, Tennessee. A religious revival in a big circus-like tent in the middle of a dirt field. And I'm not a religious person. He said, I'd put him in my rear view real quick. Well, I get it, man. I've always said I don't need a church or collection plate or another man who has the same capacity for sin as me to lead me down the path of righteousness. I tend to walk alone. I think you do too. Yeah, I like to have a one-on-one relationship with the man upstairs. You know why? It's a little more honest that way.
Hey, heads up. Here comes your celebrity cheese.
All right, Jennifer Aniston claims in a Vanity Fair interview that she and her friends, co-stars, had been mourning Matthew Perry's death long before he died, saying Perry's demons ran deep, but they all tried to help him through his addictions. Now, she also went on to say that she still has love in her heart for Brad Pitt, too, after he dumped her 20 years ago for Angelina Jolie, adding that she believes Brad never cheated on her with Jolie. Oh, come on. No man in the history of the earth leaves someone with Jennifer Aniston's goodies without sampling the goodies of her replacement. Not going to happen. You know, it's the new goodies that make him leave the old goodies because they make him want to lose his income, lose half, twice. They're that good. So I think Jennifer's a little delusional. Machine Gun Kelly, who's now more like Squirt Gun Kelly because he hasn't had a hit in how many years? He was asked about the rumors he's dating Sydney Sweeney. Yeah. Oh, there's the hot girl of the week. Let me see if I can get next to her. Keep my popularity up. Kelly was asked about this directly by Andy Cohen on his talk show, and he replied with, "Oh, shut up, dude." And Cohen did. No follow-up questions at all. Ooh, the balls on this Andy Cohen guy. All right, TV talker Jimmy Kimmel says he's now an Italian citizen and is thinking about pulling a Rosie O'Donnell and leaving the United States again. You know what, Jimmy? I think it's a damn good idea, though. I'd quit and get the hell out now. I mean, show that you have more balls than Rosie, please. The Kelsey Brothers podcast with Travis and his brother Jason are teasing a mystery guest coming up on Wednesday. And judging by the graphic teaser, it kind of looks like Taylor Swift, and Swift fans are convinced it's her too. So will the Kelsey Brothers deliver Swift, or are they just stunting you? Will it be somebody else? Hell, it could be Britney Spears, who's been single for 173 days.
Who gives a rat's ass?
Rat's Ass Podcast. Email from our Gmail.
All right, as you know, I do not read your email in advance. My producer, Fleabag, forwards me your name, where you're from, and rewrites them so I can read them rapid fire and on the fly. And no topic is ever off the table. It is also impossible to offend me. Unless you're throwing dildos on an WNBA court. That offends me. All right, Brian D., Arlington, Virginia, said, a few podcasts back, you mentioned how you handle dealing with your phone, text, and email, and I'm trying to do it. My question is, how do you handle email from people you no longer want to deal with without freaking them out? Oh, come on. This is easy. Brian, you get a dummy email address. Go to Gmail, set up an email, and just send them a note saying, hey, by the way, changing my email address to this one because I want to get rid of all this junk stuff. So you're one of the people I like hearing from, so please use this email address. That way you deal with it whenever you want, and it doesn't clog up your regular email address. All right, Kelly Z., Long Island, New York. I cannot believe you're now advocating for New York to elect Ron Mamdani as our next mayor. Please, stop it. I have to live here and you don't. I get it. I know what you're saying, Kelly, but here's the deal. You know, you New Yorkers are so smug that you think, oh, we're going to be the first in the history of the planet to make socialism work. Well, let's find out. Let's let this 33-year-old turd sauce salesman who's never accomplished anything in his life, who's been basically a rich silver spoon child, take over New York City. Let him turn you into a lab rat experiment. You want to vote for this guy? Do it. Let's see what happens. Because we want the biggest city in America on display, failing, inbred lines, people moving out that have money, and there'd be nobody left. Remember what they say about communism? You always run out of somebody else's money. So let's find out. And I'm sorry that you live there, but you still got time to get the hell out, by the way. All right, Derek S., Raleigh, North Carolina. The reason you should watch South Park and The Simpsons is basically because they're adult, funny, and really tap into what society is dealing with in a humorous way. That's what you're trying to lure me into watching cartoons with, Derek? Not good enough. Brandon K., Provo, Utah. Your piece on what our democracy really means when Democrats say it was excellent. You should bring it up more on your podcast. Well, I think I bring it up quite a bit, that when Democrats say, we're fighting for our democracy, no, what they really mean is we're fighting for the survival of the Democratic Party. If you're not a Democrat, you're out. That includes a centrist Democrat. It also includes a libertarian like me, a Republican, and an independent. It's their ball club, and you're not in it. When they say our democracy, they make it sound inclusive, but they just mean the Democratic Party. All right, Deborah B., Stevens Point, Wisconsin. How much time do you spend listening to radio now that you're no longer involved with it? No time. I read graphics and charts. That's it. But I don't listen to the radio stations. If you're alluding to Radio Wars on the blog, I can get all that information from websites and other sites that deal with music and stuff. But I think even you, as a listener, reviewing these charts that I put up in the competition, I think you can see for yourself why classic rock is having a problem these days. The real heritage ones that have been around a long time, like WDVE in Pittsburgh, KSHE in St. Louis, stations like that tend to do well because they've been around a long time. People know them. But still, I see cracks in the armor on those stations too, the what they call heritage stations. But go follow Radio Wars. I think you'll see it for yourself. There are classic rock stations that are playing frickin' Billy Joel, for crying out loud. You know, that's a classic hit station. I don't think you really want to know. I don't think you know if you are, do we want to be a classic rock station or do we want to be a classic hit station? I don't think you guys know the damn difference between the two. As I've explained before, classic rock is a very deep library. Classic hits, very thin. It's a very thin library, meaning it doesn't play more than 2 or 3 songs deep from an artist. Classic rock, you could have as much as 50. If it's like the Stones, Led Zeppelin, AC/DC, you can find that there. But that's the difference. It's the thickness of the library versus the thinness. Try to work it out, because I see it every damn week on Radio Wars. RatsAssPodcast.com, by the way. All right, if you have any questions, observations, or comments, send them to my producer, Fleabag, at ratsasspodcast@gmail.com. The more outrageous and salacious, the better.
Rat's Ass Podcast. Head trauma.
All right, we're playing the mystery voice today. Can you tell me who this famous person is?
My mom told me when I was really young to fall in love with as many things as possible.
All right, did you say Sydney Sweeney?
Yeah, baby.
All right, if you did, you got it right. But if you missed it, go see a doctor about your head trauma and get well soon. I got to go pick up lunch from the Naked Deli. No, it's not what you think. All of their sandwiches are made without meat and bread. But I do have one more thing for you. A new study says if you use an electronic device while driving, would you believe your chances of crashing increase by 300%?
Then you should text and drive more often.
Oh, bite me, Alexa.
My pleasure, where do you want it?
Why don't you surprise me?
Okay, big boy, drop those pants.
Alexa, if I drop my pants, I'm just going to confuse you.
You already confused me, so confuse me some more.
Oh, sure. Okay, well, let's start by hitting the mute button then.
Oh, come on, you jag off.
She is now muted. I'm having fun with the mute button these days. All right, welcome to Rat Nation. Gary Williams, Bakersfield, California. Kendra DeMarco of Flagstaff, Arizona. Cody McNally of Amarillo, Texas. And to the Resistance, those of you who email us but haven't joined Rat Nation yet. Sandra B. in Biloxi, Mississippi, and I think we're up to 477 members, by the way. Davey K., Charleston, South Carolina, and Gene M. from Dayton, Ohio, and around the world to listeners in Vancouver, Canada, Brisbane, Australia, and West Bay and the Cayman Islands.
Now's your chance to be one of the few and the loud. Join Rat Nation at ratsasspodcast.com. Membership does have its rewards, you know.
All right, that's it for this episode of the Rat's Ass Podcast. Go check out ratsasspodcast.com and get the entire Rat's Ass Podcast experience. You can listen to the podcast, rock out on Rat's Ass Rock TV. Read the blog. It's loaded with a lot of hot topicality. Plus, you can still join Rat Nation without having to qualify. We'll do this again on Wednesday, August 13th. Take care of each other, and thanks again for stopping by the Rat's Ass Podcast.
The conversation continues between podcasts on X and ratsasspodcast.com. ratsasspodcast.com.